The best miniature paint brushes for Warhammer and beyond.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and today we're going to talk about the best paint brushes for Warhammer, well, or any miniatures in general. What actually works, what's worth the cash, and what's just worth hype, because there's plenty of cheap stuff out there that you'll just have to keep buying over and over again. So you've got your paints, your minis, and that dream of turning gray plastic into a miniature masterpiece. But the problem is your brushes look like they just survived a hurricane. So let's fix that. Starting with the King, Winsor & Newton Series 7, Kolinsky Sable hair, the sharp point, perfect paint control. These brushes have been the gold standard for years. They are pricey, but they will last you forever if you treat them right. I think my current Kolinsky Sables I've had going on, wow, 20 years now that I think about it. Definitely late 2000s. Next up is GW's Artificer brushers. They are tailored supposedly for Citadel paints and designed for Warhammer detail work. So if you're deep into Space Marines, you know, this brush is probably for you, and you can, you know, get them from your local Games Workshop or friendly local game store and not have to order them online. If your wallet's giving you a side eye at these kind of prices, I definitely recommend Monument Hobbies Sable series, because they hit that sweet spot between quality and cost. They've got a great belly for paint load, very sharp tips, and they're built specifically for miniature painting. They're not adapted for watercolors. They actually make them in-house, and they have all the gear and stuff. So you're gonna have a hard time finding a better brush here in the States for sure. Then there's Artis Opus. These guys make brushes purely for our hobby, just like Monument Hobbies. Their Series S is the all-purpose detail brush, M's for precision lines. They're not cheap either way, and they're definitely built by miniature painters for miniature painters. Game Envy definitely deserves a shout too. Their Phalanx synthetics and their Artis Arsenal Sables are both, you know, very good, and they punch above their price. And they're definitely a lifesaver. You know, if you're sitting there cranking out paint hour after hour, it starts to wear. And I feel like they hold their shape better than most. And definitely don't sleep on Army Painter's Wargamer series. I love their dry brushes. I think their dry brushes are great. So if you're, you know, powering through a big army, they've got some really good brushes, and they're definitely gonna, you know, be worth looking at and easier to find in stores for their normal Wargamer series. So that being said, you know, you definitely want to consider keep your brushes clean. Use real brush soap, not dish detergent. We have a whole article on that. You can check it out. If you're going to Monument Hobbies, get theirs. If you're, you know, ordering somewhere online, you can find some really good stuff on there. Winsor & Newton has a cleaner, and Masters also has their brush soap too. But again, that's not designed for miniature paint brushes. So what's the dream setup? I think a Winsor & Newton or a Monument Sable size 2, a dry brush from Army Painter or Artis Opus. Like I said, I hadn't used those ones yet. And a fine detail brush from Game Envy or the GW Artificer ones is kind of what I use. That's kind of my setup, and I really like it. But again, you can buy a paint set from any of these folks and you'll be just fine. So that being said, what's your go-to brush brand? You know, drop your favorites in the comments and let us know what works for you.
Thanks for watching. Supporting us is super easy. Just click on the article links provided, subscribe, or follow us right here. And remember, next time you're searching for the best Warhammer news, type Spiky Bits into Google to get the most accurate info. See you in the next one.
Spiky Bits.